co-hosting.
Yep.
Take that from me. I'm building a brand new property management company, not a co-host company to sell to Steve Schwab. Just FYI. Co-host is not an end game.
No, it's another job.
That's exactly what it is. Nobody's going to give you a multiple by your co-hosting company, just FYI. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. So now how many people here own single-family home short-term rental properties? Like everybody. Awesome. That's great. How many people own a boutique hotel or like a commercial asset? Oh, yep. Okay, so we have a few. All right. So
Hold on. How many of you think that your rental income adds value to your single-family home? Raise your hand. Wrong. Doesn't have any value. Your appraisal, because it's a residential property, the appraisal is what dictates the value. Your rental income is irrelevant. The only way that it becomes relevant is if you're selling to an inexperienced buyer's agent and an inexperienced buyer.
All right. So now that we understand the room, awesome. Let's move forward. Okay. Here is where I think I've been doing. We've had this conference 4 times.
Yep.
4 times, and I get to meet new people. If I haven't met you yet, please come up and say hey. But one of the things I love, I'm really bad with names, so I will forget your name, but I'll remember your face. And I usually remember something about, not your face, but something about you as a person. Yeah, the glasses, there we go. But you with the story. And I was talking to somebody who I met last year. And he was talking to me about his situation, and he had 1 property. It was doing well. And he was like, I'm thinking about growing and scaling, like everyone here at the conference, and this is the last conference. And, I'm here to learn and how to do that and take action. And I was like, awesome, And anyway, he talked to me about my services. He didn't do anything. I think he even talked to Bill about Inner Circle. He didn't do anything. He talked to all these different things. He didn't do anything. See him this year. I'm like, hey, buddy, how's it going? What have you grown to? He's like, man, I've just got that 1 property still. And I was like, oh, are you losing money on it? Like, what's going on? He's like, oh, no, actually, we're doing quite well. But he's like, I just can't go from 1. I can't figure out how to go from 1 to 2 because my cash flow, he's cash flowing, but it isn't enough. I mean, he's making like $30K, which is, depending on the price of the property, I think it was like $700,000. That's pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. He's cash flowing $30,000 a year. But is $30,000 a year enough to buy you another property? It's the very, very slow lane. No, it's not. So scaling actually has nothing to do, very little to do, I should say, with your cash flow. Does that make sense? Yes. If it doesn't, just shake your head no so I know. Okay. So I'm going to give you my story of how I scaled. And keep in mind, I started in 2017. The economy, the industry in particular, was completely different then. So how I scaled will be different from how you should scale. But you can learn the steps and the overall arching theme of how you scale, and Bill already touched on this, with using other people's money to actually scale. But learn and follow. So listen to the story, but you don't have to try to replicate everything that I did. So I started in 2017. I lived in Buffalo, New York. No one? Usually when I say that, someone's like, go Bills!
I know you're a Southerner now.
Yeah. Well, 3 months in North Carolina, I'm a Southerner. I'm a Southerner, y'all. Yeah, that's funny. Can I tell a quick story real quick? I want to tell a story real quick. It was really funny. So I go get my license in North Carolina. It's an awful process, by the way. And thank you. And I show up at the DMV, and the guy's like, oh, where are you moving from? And I said, oh, we're coming down from New York. And he's like, oh, we're all full. Ha, ha, ha. Everybody there, that's not the joke. Because I got him back. Just pay attention. Yep. Because everybody there, where I moved to Raleigh, everyone there is not from Raleigh. Like they're unicorns if you find a local. So I'm like, ha, ha, ha. And he's like, just kidding. Like, here, get in line. And I was like, okay. And then he's like asking for my documents, and I said, you know what? I'm just so excited to move down here and change the politics and fix things. And you see his face like go, oh. And anyway, got him. So, yeah. So, yes, I moved down south. But when I started, I was in Buffalo, New York, and I was working. I was a year or two in working for Citibank, and we knew about Airbnb at the time. We'd stayed at some Airbnbs, but it was still very mom and pop-ish, like staying at your grandma's house kind of thing. Like nobody had big amenities, and I was even comfortable staying in like shared rooms. Like it was kind of still that level of it. But it was really interesting. And the very first unit I even got involved with Airbnb, I actually did rental arbitrage. I only had $10,000 at the time that I wanted to test the waters with. And so I did a rental arbitrage apartment in downtown Buffalo. And it absolutely crushed it. Absolutely. Which, I mean, you buy anything at that time, anything crushed it, so whoop-de-doo. But it did well. And so I was like, man, I'm onto something here. So I went and I bought a duplex, and I turned it to both units into Airbnb. And I was like, well, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, I'll long-term rent it. Who said that to themselves? And in the mirror. And so so I did that, and and that was at 2018, and that crushed it. And then I was like, oh, let me go do another one. I did another one. Then I'm like, let me go try this co-hosting thing. And so I started growing a portfolio, but I ran into a problem. The problem, number one, I was limited on cash, because these properties, there were really good returns, but I was netting like $10,000 or $15,000 a year. That's nothing. I mean, now when I look back at it, when in the moment when I wasn't making that before, my salary was like, I think I was at that time at Citibank, I was maybe doing 80 or 90 a year. It's like, wow, an extra 15K a year, this is awesome, and that's fine when you get started. But as you're thinking about growth, you're like, how do I go to these bigger properties? How do I buy things that are going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into? And so what I found is as I scaled and as I was looking, it's I'm going to have to be smarter about it. And the one component, this is really, really, really important, the one component that you have to respect, and I learned this the hard way, is your time. Your time is extremely valuable. I did co-hosting, okay, and it was great. And it helped me get more doors and credibility I've STR insights, all that stuff too, but that was a little bit later. But the co-hosting side allowed me to get more doors, but then once again, I was still only making $10,000, maybe $20,000 a year off of that, because if I got a bigger property, great. But these are all apartments in downtown Buffalo. And so I really wasn't building wealth, and it was just kind of this slow traction. So I either had to take on more co-hosting properties, which take time and effort, or I get smarter about how I scale. So I said, you know what? I need more time. And this is when I had joined Bill's mastermind. And I want to share this story real quick, because this was a pivotal moment for me in my scaling journey. So it was Gulf Shores. It was the first one. And I remember showing up there. I'd taken time off work. They were like, yo, you have 18 days a year. And I was like, okay, great. I'm going to take 4 for this, see how that goes. And I show up, and everybody there, Lori, Eric, Sarah Sakel, Tom Mundy, everyone there most people there were already real estate investors, most of them full-time real estate investors. And on the last day, I'm packing up, I'm I gotta go home now and get back to work tomorrow, W-2. And on the last day there, everyone is just hanging out in the living room, just chilling. I'm no one's leaving? And they're oh, we extended our stay. We're gonna go check out some properties. And I just remember sitting there going I was so freaking jealous. Going, wow, I wish I had that flexibility in my life. I wish I had that time and that ability to go, yeah, I'm gonna stay here and go check out some amazing properties in Gulf Shore, Alabama.
Every single person stayed, myself included, except for Kenny.
Yep.
18 people that were there in the first mastermind.
Yep. And so I remember getting in the Uber to go to the airport, just like not pissed at anyone, but like kind of just like hungry and just jealous and like just full of emotion. Like, I am going to make a change. And number one, so it was really at that moment, this determination in my heart to be like, I need to figure this out, came in. And number one, I have to give kudos to Bill by creating an environment where that was possible. Without that environment and that mentorship, I wouldn't even be here today, not even close to it. And so, thank you. And then number two, it's that hungriness to figure it out. But then I realized that I need time. And it wasn't going to be through co-hosting or taking on another job. And so what I did, getting to the conclusion here, is I started to build a brand for myself through STR Insights, through doing these property finding things, where as I scaled, I started making more income, I could buy properties. But I started sharing that experience, my experiences, my successes. So I bought a property in Watkins Glen, New York, which is in the middle of the Finger Lakes. Who knows where the Finger Lakes are? Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Do you know it from me or just in general? Okay, cool, yeah, for me.
From the Finger Lakes?
Well, apparently I learned that was it the resin grape? What? Riesling. It's like the only grape.
See?
I don't drink wine. I don't drink wine. But yeah.
Sent me a box of wine from the Finger Lakes, and I got the resin wine.
The resin wine. And if you showed up to, he just gave it out to his like.
I gave it to my co-hosting retreat.
Yeah, you're like.
Was Joe Roney in there?
No.
It was right on par with the Missouri wine that Joe.
No. They all enjoyed it. They all enjoyed it.
Remember, I got the resin, not the Riesling.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. You were there. Okay, it wasn't terrible. I'll take that. So, long story short, I buy this property, Watkins Glen. This is like my first big, after using STR Insights, my first big like jump, my leap out of my own market and buying a property and scaling. It was a big 7-bedroom. I bought it for a whopping $350,000. Ooh, big time, big player right there, right? And I'm like, this is it. They passed some regulations where I could get a permit, all this great stuff. And in my first year, I did, what did I grow? I don't remember. I just know what I netted, which is my cash in my pocket. So my first year, I netted $42,000. Cool. I added, thank you, one clap. That's okay. You don't need a clap. Wait for the clap, actually. My second year, so I added a hot tub, and I did about $56K in net. And then my last year, I put in a theater room. And I grossed $144,000, and I netted 77. Yes, that is a clap. Yeah.
It for $350,000 purchase.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too, and I have a main stage if you guys are still going to be here. I have a main stage where I'm going to talk about this. Like, it doesn't really look like you'd be like, oh, that's a super property, but it makes super property numbers.
I just want to clarify for everybody, does everybody know what the definition of super property is? It has nothing to do with how big, what it looks like, what amenities are. It's the top performer in the market in the space.
Yes.
That's it.
It's a top performer by
like. It can be a one-bedroom condo. It can be, what was that, like a 7-bedroom bed and breakfast? And
yeah.
Did you lose a bedroom for the
I did.
theater? So it's down to a 6-bedroom, but he's making more money.
Yep.
It's
and
always just about occupancy or size.
Right. Right. It's crazy. People in that market don't even use dynamic pricing, so it's easy. So anyway, long story short, sharing that story, sharing STR Insights, going to these mastermind events, sharing it with investors encouraged me to start STR Insights and to grow and all this great stuff. But more importantly, for my property adventure, started getting eyes and ears from investors. People coming to me and saying, hey, Kenny, can you do this for me? And I'm like, sure, and they'd pay me money and then I'd go and do it. But then as I started to get more success from that and get case studies, other investors were coming and saying, hey, will you partner with me?
Part of that also is because you started becoming a person of interest.
Absolutely.
In 2020, 2021, nobody knew who Kenny was outside of our mastermind. Once he launched STR Insights in the mastermind, people in the mastermind started talking about him. We couldn't contain what he was doing into his pod and then into the 50 or 60 members in the mastermind, and then it started leaking out, and everybody wanted access to his spreadsheets, And that's where Paul Hugh, like myself, we had to push him to say, you need to start this as a business. Then when you brought it and really launched publicly at the conference, is kind of when Kenny's brand starts to blow up as the person of interest, right? That
Yep.
becomes a huge component of that. And now you're the best and biggest property finder in the industry. 2.5, 3 years later.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And
opportunities are different today than they were then.
absolutely.
That's something I really want to hit home. Everybody in this room can become the person of interest. You heard Mike talk about that yesterday.
What,
Are you done?
I'm almost done.
Okay,
Sorry,
keep
I'm like
going.
beating the bush here, but I'll get to it. So long